Welcome to the Revenue Marketing Report powered by CaliberMind. I'm your host, Camela Thompson, and today I am joined by Jenn Steele. Jenn, day 3, welcome back. We're going to talk about our favorite trauma bonding topic, which is marketing and sales are at war. Now what?
I think yesterday I said, run and hide, and sometimes you might have to.
Yeah, true. I think it's always helpful to share what does and does not work. And you mentioned departments, entire sales departments that think marketing is dumb.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think we got there?
Sometimes marketing's dumb.
Tell me more.
More than just sometimes marketing is dumb. One thing that marketing leaders lament all the time is that marketers are dreadful at marketing themselves.
Agreed.
And I'm misquoting a friend of mine when it's like, well, it's hard to, talk about the ingredients when you're on the inside of the bottle. And that's a rough one. In fact, like even doing my own company, I come from product marketing. I'm a messaging expert. I am a brand messaging expert. I suck at design, but I'm really good at the words. Like it is the thing that I'm the best at. I couldn't do it for my own company when I started it because I have come into 8 different companies. I don't know. I lost track, like coming in and just remessaged the whole thing. Like, no problem. As CMO, as head of product marketing, as head of growth, there's all these things. But what may have been happening is that marketing doesn't suck, but just nobody knows what they've done. Or the board might know because maybe the former CMO has done a great job of reporting to the board. Probably not, but maybe. But there's been no marketing of marketing. And if you're somebody like me who has problems with that, that's when you can get help. Like whether build rapport with ideally the head of sales, but the head of product, anything like that, saying like, I need your help. Marketing has been doing a crappy job of marketing itself. What do you think of this slide? Or, hey, can you do me a favor? And like, can we come into all of your team meetings this week and talk about this?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
And I like getting a preview with the leadership team. So if they're going to call BS in the meeting, you can get in front of that and figure out why they feel that way.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were going to go here, but I'm going to.
Uh-oh.
I know, but I think you're going to like it. Setting up your marketing data infrastructure. And like you said on day 1, tying that to opportunities, aka revenue, is really the only way to back up what you're, because if you don't have the numbers to back it up, I think there's going to be a lot of departments that have a problem with that. Would you disagree? Let's debate it.
So sales data is not always right.
Right.
But sales data needs to be the source of truth.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 2 different things here. Either the sales data is not right, in which case y'all need to work together to get sales data right, or right enough. There's no such thing as fully right data, let's be honest, but right enough, agreed upon.
Amen.
If assuming sales data is right enough, then anything you report that cannot be verified in the sales data is going to be deemed to be BS. Period. I don't care if you're a new CMO, an old CMO, but like very, very rarely is it anything else, because sales data ties to finance data and finance data ties to actual money in the bank. And so marketing can't win that.
Mm-mm.
So the question is, if Marketo is reporting one thing and Salesforce another, how do you fix that? Well, you churn off of Marketo, but that's just a personal bias. Sorry. I have my issues, but fundamentally, it really does become like, if there's like a massive leap between something marketing says and something sales says, it's going to be marketing's job to say, okay, something's wrong over here. How do I start with sales data and work backwards? We might not like it, but it's a hard cash currency world.
Yeah, and you're saying this coming from a marketing background. I think a lot of people are really upset by the fact that we're measured against sales and have very little control over the sale itself. But that's the reality.
Yep. It is a
Yeah.
reality. I mean, measuring the pipeline is fine, because whether or not you have the BDR, blah, 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 like wherever all of that lives, pipeline is something you've got more control over. Although, and I've said this before, fundamentally, the go-to-market functions don't have control. They're not like product and engineering where you can fire everyone you're working with.
Hmm.
Sales, marketing, customer success, all the go-to-market functions are completely beholden to people who you don't pay or control. And that can be frustrating for everyone. But now I've sidetracked us.
No, that's great. Humans. I think we've got
Yes.
a theme. Humans.
Humans. Ugh.
Oh, goodness. So aligning on sales data create that necessitates understanding the CRM
Mhm.
and how that data works and understanding that your CRM data structure is actually a lot cleaner than anything we get in marketing, unfortunately.
Except that it's still mostly crap.
Agreed.
Sorry, Salesforce is not a relational database. HubSpot has its own issues because it's like this one pretty screen and getting under it's a pain in the butt. Don't
And
get me started
offline
on like,
events,
mhm.
offline events. Mm-mm.
Yes,
Mm-mm. But
yes,
then Salesforce online events. Mm-mm.
yeah. Well, but then you look at the Salesforce campaigns versus HubSpot campaigns, and HubSpot's dreadful at campaigns, and Salesforce is only slightly dreadful at campaigns, slightly better.
It's
You could,
it's a lot better if you don't fall into
yeah.
the parent-child trap.
Oh yeah, parent-child is truly anyhow.
I'm going to go on this track because I consult and I see this way too often. The view hierarchy is pretty. That's
Hmm.
not how your data is summarized, though,
Mm-mm.
at all. One level, that's all you get. Okay, I'm done with that one. Sorry. I just see too many people falling into that.
The problem is that data hygiene is hard.
Yeah.
And so the more complex your data structures are, the more incorrect your data will be.
Yes. Yes.
It's why like I think I like tagging and not folders.
Right.
Because tagging is basically flat, but you can just have a bunch of tags if you need them. And you, yes, you should go through and you should fix them eventually. But like on my own product, when we're talking about search, et cetera, and so on, and they're like hierarchy, I'm like, nope, tagging.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, folks, that we derailed a little bit, but data hierarchies are the are the devil. They're terrible. They're just bad. I think we both have battle scars.
We do. We do.
And I was in a meeting where the CMO and the VP of sales were trolling each other on social media, and that's
Oh,
I know.
like, oh, that's dreadful.
Right. That's a situation you probably can't fix. And
Yeah.
depending on the attitude of everybody else around, one of those people's going out the door. And it's probably marketing. You should.
Yes. Well, so yeah. So I have so many thoughts and they're all trying to come out of my mouth at the same time, which means that I'm just basically sputtering. So think about this though. Marketing has history. We have the future. We've got ongoing things. Even if our pipeline numbers aren't great, we could probably make a brand splash. We've got a bunch of stuff going on. Sales has one thing. They
Yeah.
make their numbers or they get fired. So you're sales leader. Your team's not making their numbers for some reason. Maybe because it's 2023 or 2024. Just a conjecture. And your oldest daughter just went to college and you just signed a mortgage on an obscene house because of course you're a sales leader and you're making literally double of what the CMO is making. And you can see that you're probably about to lose your job. What happens? What do you do? What do you try to do? And this is where, as a marketing leader, I would sometimes have empathy for sales
Mhm.
because what are you going to do? You can fire your own people, you can, and then you can throw marketing under the bus. And you're in marketing and things are less provable and sales is directly provable. And unfortunately, because of the provability, the CRO tends to have more trust and therefore marketing is now out the door.
Mhm.
And that's horrible. Now, I've also worked in environments where sales has been very nice to my face, and I find out later that they were complaining and complaining and complaining to the CEO about everything, especially me, toxicity, blah, blah, blah. Again, that's back to there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
I've never seen it go all the way to the social media because that's just unprofessional, but still.
I agree. It got ugly.
Yeah.
But it's
And
interesting
yeah.
because sales, they make a career out of convincing people.
Hmm.
And if they've got the ear of the CEO, then there's not a lot you can do. And they probably, in a lot of cases, they do.
Uh-huh. And again, it comes down to like, okay, but okay, now I'm CEO, right? And I've got before me some expensive people.
Hmm.
One I can directly tie to this whether my business survives, and the other I can only indirectly tie to whether my business survives. Who do I fire
Hmm.
if I have to?
Indirect.
Yeah, it's awful.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, it's also true.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but sales, their tenure's as short as ours now.
Yeah,
And CS
I,
is even shorter. So we're kind
it's
of all in
it's
it.
like average tenure across like sales reps is like down from 18 months to 13 months or something ridiculous like that. I
It's
mean, it's exhausting.
crazy. Yeah. Yeah. I have a lot of empathy for everyone on
Mhm.
go-to-market teams. It's just really tough out there right now. But I think there's some things we can do as marketing leaders. So maybe we give a few examples. One thing that worked really well for me is trying to train the team to be more empathetic and choose their words. And if that didn't work, I would make them sit on sales calls.
Mm. Well, I think that any marketing team that's not sitting on sales calls, I don't care where you sit in the organization, if you're not at least listening to recorded sales calls,
They were doing recordings before,
yeah.
but to be on there and hear somebody
Mhm.
shut down or watch somebody not show up, it's a little bit
Mhm.
different.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that works better if you're selling to marketers
Mm.
because it's really weird to have like, here's our content manager if you're selling cybersecurity. But but yeah, like the needing to watch calls is so important. Um and because and I didn't know this, like so I changed careers into sales and marketing when I started at HubSpot about 15 years ago. And I had never sat on a sales floor because I had run IT departments at law firms, which is why I care a lot about data. But
Which is why we get along
but
so well.
there we go. But I was shocked. Like, so I get to HubSpot, I go into their amazing sales training program that even back with fewer than 100 employees, they still had. And then I sat on a sales floor and I went, holy crap. Like this is sales. And granted, before I'd been on the buy side of enterprise sales, so it was just a little different overall. But it was just at every month, their goals reset. Every month. And it is I admire salespeople so much because of their tenacity, because they have to be micromanaged and some of them thrive under it for the ability to get through their day and hear no, no, F you, no constantly. I mean, it's hard. I've done it, but thankfully not as like the frontline person with an upline manager. I've done it as head of sales. And it is a dreadful job, and they quite frankly earn every penny of that very high salary that your marketing team is dreadfully envious of because the amount of stress that they deal with on a day-to-day basis and the amount of rejection is just bonkers. Unfortunately, but what I don't like about this is that why is the onus always on marketing? Well, it's because sales directly ties to the bottom line. Yes, I realize I already answered that question, but it is so frustrating to sit with a marketing team, care so much about the company, and be like, yes, you have to do all of the emotional labor.
Yeah,
I don't have a solution for that. I just had
I
it
don't
to
either.
fetch.
I don't either. I do feel like we are expected to bend over backwards a lot, and if we do that too much, we don't get to our core job and then we're in trouble
Mhm.
again.
Yeah.
And it's just this cycle that you have to be really
Mhm.
careful to balance well.
Then if we push back too much, then marketing it sucks that they're uncooperative.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
there is something wrong about the way we're treating marketing, but I don't know what it is. Because if I knew what it was, that's the company I would be founding is to fix it. But instead, I'm just going to try to help with pipeline instead.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I look at B2C and marketing has a lot of control and responsibility there. And that sounds really stressful. But I think we're kind
Well,
of headed
they
in
have
that
sales.
direction. Well, yeah. I mean,
I mean, when I was my 1 year of B2B B2C marketing, granted, was not representative because it was at Amazon. And I
mhm,
was in what was at the time the centralized marketing team that was called the traffic team. And I was responsible for driving sales.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
and
that's
so
you own the
yeah.
P&L. You figure
Hmm.
out you have a ton of responsibility. I feel like because the sales cycles are shorter, it is easier to tie things together from a data perspective. So the
Oh,
data,
absolutely.
however, I feel like in B2B, we need to get more disciplined around can we figure out a gold standard that everybody uses instead of everybody reporting on different stuff? I don't know. Maybe it's possible.
Just like I'll go with something we can agree with inside a single company.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
before yeah, like let's just go with that. Like let's agree inside
Yeah.
because I don't know about this goal. I mean, I've worked in an attribution platform, heaven knows you have as well. Like
Yeah.
it's hard. Like
Yeah, even with all the data in the world, it still usually falls down to what the leadership team feels
mhm.
and not what the data proves out.
Oh
Don't know how
yeah.
to fix that.
I mean, we still have founders out there who are wed to sourced marketing sourced versus sales sourced, which to me is one of the most BS metrics I've ever encountered in my life. And so I'm like, until some like if multiple people still believe that, oh my gosh, we are so far from a universal solution.
Yeah, it's the pits. What can you do? I guess you can do a few things. It does feel like we're bending over backwards. There are some sales leaders I've spoken to that say, "Hey, why isn't sales also responsible for this?" And those people I like a lot.
I like I had one sales leader that I really liked working with who just said outbound drives inbound. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and inbound drives outbound. And as long as we understood that it was like the circle, we could work together.
I think that's the thing. Buyer behavior is changing. More of it's online.
Mhm.
Marketers are going to have to be very talented and savvy with numbers. I think we're headed there. I'm not really an optimist. So,
Well, and it's okay if you are not the whole package,
mhm,
right? Like, yes, you need to be savvy with numbers, but you also need to know your ICP absolutely cold and be able to talk their language,
mhm.
talk in their language, pretend I can speak English. Speaking of language, but, but you don't, doesn't have to be all you. Like, if you're the CMO, you just have to know how to hire to those and then how to catch them if they're BSing. But otherwise, like, you don't have to do it all. Like
Yeah.
you don't have it's the same reason. Like I'm watching people panic about AI. I'm like, you don't have to be an expert in AI. You just need to know how to use it, or at least how to
Hmm.
hire somebody who knows how to use it and how to gut check it. Which, if you've been in marketing long enough, like you know when things smell fishy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I can tell
Yeah.
you which websites were written in ChatGPT.
Hmm.
And, I can't tell the ones that were written in it and then edited.
Right.
That's all you need to
Right.
do.
Well, and I can even if you're not a data whiz, you can probably look at something and be like, that smells fishy. I don't think the campaign produced that kind of result.
Yep. Pattern spotting. Hmm.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all
You don't
patterns.
have to know how you got there. You just have to be able to see it as a leader and know how to push back.
Wonderful. Well, Jen, thank you so much. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Can
I
you
think I
tell
wandered
us?
all over the place with that one, but
I
hopefully that
love
helped.
it. I love it. Hopefully our listeners were patient. They're fine. They're fine, right,
Okay.
guys and gals? Um, all right. So where can people find you to network
Mhm.
and your product?
So thank you for asking. I am basically Jenn Steele everywhere, JENNSTEELE. So LinkedIn.com/in/Jenn Steele. Jenn Steele on Instagram. I mostly have pictures of wine and sunsets. And I think X I'm the same, but I'm never there anymore because and you can find my company at SoundGTM.com. Sound as in Puget Sound, or maybe just a sound go-to-market strategy. But yeah, SoundGTM.com. And yes, we have a company page on LinkedIn, but it has like 6 followers. So hey, listeners here could like probably quintuple that, like easy.
Yeah, let's do it. Follow the page. Listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to the Revenue Marketing Report. Please tell 2 friends, subscribe, download, whatever you can helps. And for those of you looking for more great content like this, check out calibervine.com.